when 9/11 happened, I was at home, and it was late at night, but I was watching television and it did come on the news live. And so while it was all happening, I was watching it live. Like when the plane hit the first tower, we saw it, you know, it had just come up on the news, and so it was running live, and we saw the second plane hit the tower and saw the towers collapse. And then my family was up all night watching it because it was such a bizarre, crazy thing to see happening. And, you know, it was all this weird, crazy information. You know, first that happened, and then some plane hit into the Pentagon, and then some other plane landed into a field, and no one knew what was going on, but it looked like, you know, the entire United States was being attacked and was going to shit. But what followed on from that, you know, from someone who wasn't in this country at the time, it was not, for international relations, it was not a good thing. I don't think George Bush handled 9/11 well from an international perspective. The big difference, I could say, between, you know, the way 9/11 was handled politically to, say, July 7 was that George Bush stood on the rubble of the Twin Towers and said, we're going to get them. We're going to get these people, and we're going to take revenge, and they're going to pay for what they did. Whereas after the most recent terrorist bombings in London happened, you know, it's really interesting. The main difference politically was the Lord Mayor of London said, we're going to go back to work tomorrow, and we're going to pretend, well, not pretend this didn't happen, but we're not going to let them get to us. We're just going to live our lives normally because we've dealt with this before with the IRA over and over again. Let's just get back to our normal lives, and that is how we're going to prove that these terrorist bombings don't work. And I think leading up to the war in Iraq, and, you know, the way politicians and political parties spin fear and lies to garner votes is kind of, it's not good. And myself included, we kind of sit back and let it happen because we're fed by media that, you know, that tells us what we want to hear and also tells us what to hear. And unless we really do investigating on our own, we really don't have, at this point in time, I feel like, a voice of our own that is listened to, or we don't feel like we have any power to change what politicians are doing. So I think that this play, you know, is important to show, to get people talking, at least, about, you know, what is happening in this country at this time, and in all countries at this time.